And we're live. G'day, this is Zenium Live with all things money, finance and property. I'm your host, Scotty North. On this, well, where I am anyway, rainy Friday lunchtime. And as I said last week, just to confirm to our global audience that it is Friday in Australia because we're usually ahead of everyone else. And it's lunchtime, which means that from now on, there's no more work till at least probably Tuesday. That's what happens here in this country. So if you're missing out, well, you can't even come visit to see at the moment. But anyway, that's another story. Carrying on from our chat last week with Nathan Keating, and Nathan really touched on some points on some of the things that he found with borrowers in particular, and some things that they could do to make their ability to get finance or to clean up their financial lives. And one of the big things was consolidating their debts and putting it from lots of little debts into one debt. And I thought, you know what? We're going to get someone on who does this every day of the week and for a living, so to speak, and has a real passion to do so. So I'm joined today by Jorden Bayley from Plenti. Hey, Jorden, how you doing?
Hey, Scotty. Good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. So, look, we got chatting in the week, and it turns out that, you've entered your way into finance, through your own little unique way, but you've got some real passions in this area. So tell us a bit about yourself, and then tell us, how you ended up doing what you're doing, and then we'll go on to, I'll ask you a few questions about how easy it is.
Awesome. Sounds great. So basically, guys, my name's Jorden. So I started in asset finance probably about 6 years ago. So I worked in asset lending since I was 18. I got into it working through dealership finance many years ago. So my primary background was car loans. I started with Plenti back in March, right at the start before all of this went down. But they have been an awesome company to work for, and it's really allowed me to venture out and grow as a person and kind of bring my passion to life and work alongside a lot of mortgage brokers and a lot of asset writers. And teach them just how easy asset finance is and just how beneficial it is for their customers as well and for everyday people. So yeah, I worked in asset for a little while, worked in lending, got to see both sides of the coin, and I have lots of insight I would love to share with everybody, which would be awesome.
That's excellent. No, we look forward to that. So, Jorden, you made the transition from the asset lending, as you're saying. So, what? Is it fair to say that Plenti is specialised in personal loans? Like, tell us a bit about Plenti and what they do.
Yeah, awesome. So, Plenti is quite diverse with what we do and what we lend for. So, we have the car loan aspect, and we also have quite high on the personal loan aspect. So, with our personal lending, we lend for pretty much any reason, including debt consolidation, home improvements, older asset, classic cars, solar panels, legal lending for divorce settlement. We pretty much lend for anything. So it allows our consumers to basically pick and choose what they need the funds for, and no problem, you can have it. You can go do what you want to do.
Yeah, so with that in mind, carrying on from the discussion with Nathan last week, he branched into, because I know he uses you guys, but the ability that people have to roll all these many different types of little debts into sort of one more manageable debt. Do you want to take us through, some people or some success stories you've had and what impact it's had, if any, on their life, and how easy that might be?
Of course. So with the debt consolidation side, I tend to find that it's our primary lend focus. So 36% of our lends or our loans that we write are for debt consolidation purposes. This is basically used for people that are struggling with credit card debt or just want to manage one repayment instead of having 4, 5, 6, 7 different debts. We can merge all those payments into one and make it just one manageable thing for them. We've had a few success stories, quite a few recently as well. I've had a lot of, especially during COVID, people have realized the importance of having better cash flow and looking after their financial situation better. So they appreciate and would rather not have, a minimum credit card due here, one there, one here, one there, and just making it that one manageable payment. Some of the success stories I've seen, especially in the last probably week, has been I've had 3 around credit card debt in particular. where they've fallen into some pretty hard times. At one point, they've maxed out their credit cards. They might have, $30,000 or $40,000 worth of debt at a 24% interest rate, which is astronomical. And a lot of people don't realize that just paying off that minimum amount that they request you to is not really doing anything to the big scheme of things. You're kind of just paying the interest component. Their brokers have gone back, or they've even gone and looked at their credit card statement and looked down the bottom, and it says that if they continue paying their minimum, they'll pay X amount of interest over all these years. It'll be over 13 and a half years before they finally have it paid off, which is insane in the big scheme of things. That people don't want that kind of debt. That's half a mortgage. So what I've seen is people have come to us. I had a scenario the other day. Clients had, unfortunately, quite a difficult time where the wife fell pregnant. She was very sick. She had a lot of issues with her pregnancy. They were pregnant with twins. The twins were born premature. They had a lot of medical bills that came up because of that. So they maxed out their credit cards and ended up in $60,000 worth of credit card debt. So that is above our maximum, but what we were able to do was merge the merge those credit cards into two loans. So one in the wife's name, one in the husband's name, at a much cheaper interest rate at 8.89%, which worked much better for them. So then instead of having 6 different commitments, they've got 2, and then they're able to get their life back on track, making those payments, knowing that they have an end date in sight, which they know in 5 years, if they don't want to pay that extra, they can clear it out much faster than that as well.
It's just a massive difference. I mean, it's like at least 10% from the credit card down to what you guys did. And I mean, just the interest change alone is going to save them money, but then the ability to have it more of a defined time. I mean, the whole idea of paying on credit card for 13 years, it just does my head in.
It does everyone's head in, Scotty. I see it time and time again where people may not realize how to use a credit card, and most of the time consumers aren't educated around what a credit card's for or the benefits of having them. And when you go through asset lending or any type of lending, most brokers are taught, or most people that study finance are taught, that don't really use a credit card unless you have the funds there to pay it back. A lot of people tend to use those credit cards because they have the intention of paying it off within that interest-free period, but then something else might come up. Especially, life happens very quickly. Things can change very, very fast, and we don't know what lies around the next day, let alone the next week or the next month. So it's nice to know that people have a solution or an easier way out, and they can consolidate all those debts, make it manageable, and then they have the ability and the flexibility to pay those loans out early with no penalty, no extra fees. There's no ongoing fees. It's just your establishment fee, and that's it. It's very simple.
Yeah. So, I mean, I titled today's show was Using Debt to Get Out of Debt. I mean, it kind of sounds crazy, right? I mean, we're taking on another loan to pay out, existing loans. But in reality, you're not actually getting more into debt, right? I mean, essentially, because the interest rate's lower, I mean, you're almost getting into less debt.
Yes, 100%. It's what people tend to find is it gives them the confidence, and it gives them the reassurance of knowing that, yes, I've put myself in a position that I'm struggling to make those extra payments and make those minimum payments at the moment, but that end date in mind just gives people some hope that at the end of this road, I'm done. I don't have to worry about this ever again. I'm not stuck paying $15,000 in interest on one credit card, and I've got 4 of them. It's a lot of money. A little known statistic that in Australia, the average interest rate credit card is 17.41%. When you actually look at that, our cheapest rate starts from 7. Look at the difference, and that's 10% difference straight away. And even if the interest rate comes in close to where your credit card is, that's because you've got it only over 2, 3, 4, 5 years, not 13 and a half or 14 or 15 years.
Yeah, no, that's hugely different. All right, so I've got a link scrolling at the bottom of the screen, which is where people can go, and it takes them straight to your website if they want to make an application. But you talked about it was fairly quick for someone to do that. I mean, take us through, in general, a process of what someone needs to do, what info they've got to provide, and how quick some of your turnarounds might be. Oh, have I lost you?
Awesome. So with the link down below, where you'll enter some of your details, which is basically just who you are, so your name, address, your phone number, your contact details, what you're hoping to borrow and what for. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Any
it's all
better?
right. You dropping out a little bit there. I don't know what's going on.
Coming back.
Yep.
Can you? Oh,
Huh.
sorry, it's probably the rainy weather up here. Queensland is not experiencing great weather today.
Yeah, hey, first world problems with the internet.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
Nope, not yet.
I
Hang
can
on.
hear you a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I do apologize. It's as soon as rainy weather hits, it's an absolute nightmare up here.
I understand. Yeah, no, I got you okay now.
Okay, wonderful. Hopefully it holds out for us then. So with the link down below, guys, it'll take you through to our rate estimate page. The rate estimate page is your quoting page. So what you'll do is you'll enter some basic information about yourself, so your name, your contact details, your loan amount, and what purpose it's for. Your credit file, so it will not impact your credit score. It will not damage your credit file. It will not. What that will do within 30 seconds is generate your quote. It'll tell you exactly what you're eligible to borrow up to based on your comprehensive scoring, which is your credit report. And then it'll tell you what your interest rate is and what your fee breakdown as well is. So you have all your information there so you can make an informed decision before actually applying for a loan. If you decide, yeah, this is the way I want to go, I'm happy with all of this, you would then continue on, and it's very much follow your nose. You just enter a little bit more information about what you do for work, how long you've been there, what your salary is, just some very basic information. From there, you'd hit submit. It would then ask you for 3 months of bank statements through a bankstatements.com link. So you don't actually need to go and muck around on your computer and find just bank statements or anything. You can actually just use our link that we send you, enter your bank details, and we can actually draw that information ourselves. It'll also ask you for a photo of your license front and back. That's it.
That's pretty easy. And
from there, the approval takes between 24 hours. It is.
Wow.
Yes. So usually you'll have an answer back within 4 hours. Worst case scenario, it's 24 hours, but funds are paid the same day, which means the funds should be in your account that night, if not the following day.
Okay.
So basically, you're not waiting very long at all. If you want that loan, you can have the money through the next day.
Right. So 4 hours for approval and yeah. So that's what they're going to see, right?
Correct. So that's exactly what you'll see when you sign in. It'll just be some very basic information like who you are, where you live, how long you've been at your address for, whether you own a property, whether you're renting, if you're boarding, or if you're living at home with mum and dad, what your salary is, what your employment status looks like, and how many children you have, if any. If you don't have any, you just select 0.
Yep.
And then you would just hit yes to all those buttons to say that you authorize us to do that check on your behalf so we can give you the most accurate quote.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, well, that sounds pretty straightforward. So it's about 4 hours for an approval, and then you're saying how long till they can get money in their bank?
Either that afternoon or the next day, depending how quick your bank wants to pay you. So we will release the funds pretty much straight away.
Wow. Okay. No, that's excellent. That's excellent. Well, that's definitely an easy process, right? I mean, and you guys have really refined that over the past 12 months from what I've been watching. How many people have you helped now? Like in the thousands or what? All right.
Yeah, definitely in the thousands. So couldn't even give you a number. It's every month it's growing. Plenti seems to be, our goal is to be the biggest Australian. I'm hoping you can still hear me.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's this weather. This weather is not having planned nicely to us, but I'm pretty sure we've got the gist of everything there. So it's
is dropping a little bit out.
Can't argue with the weather. Yeah, we can't argue with the weather there, Jorden. All right. Well, look, I think that you probably explained. You've probably explained heaps there as to what we, what you guys can offer. So I might. I might say thanks for joining us today, Jorden. And we got heaps of information out of you. We got enough to make the decision on the personal loan stuff and really reiterate what Nathan was saying last week. And we'll definitely have you back on when we get some better weather or better internet, or both would be even more advantageous. So at this point in time, I'm just going to reiterate that you can click on the link below, which is xenium.live/Plenti. That's Plenti. So that is www.xenium.live/Plenti. So that will take you straight through to the Plenti page to do a very quick application, almost instant for a quote and almost as quick for an approval. And as Jorden accurately said, you can have your money that afternoon or early the next day, depending on how quick your bank wants to pay you, because they pay you super fast. So, Jorden, thanks very much for joining us today. I really appreciate you coming on. Even with internet problems. We've been beaten by internet there with Jorden. All right, look, that's it from us today at Xenium Live. I'm your host, Scotty North, where we talk all things money, finance, and property. And on this Friday afternoon, we can all finish our lunch and go home. And until next week, we'll have another episode of Xenium Live. So we'll see you then.